This is an intermediate English listening practice. It comes from Book 1 of the Intermediate English Comprehension series, which has over 3,000 positive reviews on Amazon. Listen carefully and use the subtitles to improve your vocabulary and comprehension.
Language death. It's estimated that there are between 6,000 and 7,000 languages spoken around the world today. However, many of these languages are dying. Some linguists believe that in 100 years, over 80% of the world's languages will cease to be spoken. Why is this happening? What can be done to stop it? Should anything be done to stop it? Languages can die in several ways. Languages which have isolated populations of speakers can become extinct when their speakers are wiped out by war, disease, or natural disasters. For example, in 2001, a huge earthquake in India killed about 30,000 speakers of Kutchi. This left only 770,000 speakers of the language. Usually, language death is not as dramatic as this. Most cases of language death happen when the speakers of a language become bilingual. Gradually, they begin to use the second language more often, until they stop using their original language. This process can be a choice, or it can be forced on a population, for example by a government. One example of forced language death happened in Hawaii. When the island became part of the US in 1898, the American government banned schools from teaching the Hawaiian language, almost causing it to become extinct. A language can be declared dead even when it still has native speakers. If there are only a few elderly speakers of a language and they no longer use that language for communication, then the language is almost dead. If no children are learning it as their first language, the language will not continue after the present generation. This is a slow process where each generation learns less and less of the language. In these cases, the transmission of the language from adults to children usually becomes less common. Finally, adults speaking the language will raise children who never learnt it properly, if at all. As globalization spreads around the world, more language death seems inevitable. 6% of the world's languages are spoken by 94% of the world's population. The other 94% of languages are spoken by only 6% of the population. One illustrative example of this is the island of New Guinea. The island has about 0.1% of the world's population. However, its residents speak 16% of the world's languages. Although many people feel sad about language death, other people see it as progress. They believe that a single global language spoken by everyone as their mother tongue would be amazing. They say that wars and conflict would be less likely if everyone spoke the same language. While language death might seem inevitable, many people are fighting against it. In 1983, the Hawaiians created the Ahapunana Leo organization to reintroduce their language through Hawaii. Ahapunana Leo means language nest, and in 1984 the organization opened language immersion preschools and later some secondary schools. In 1999, the first graduates who were taught completely in Hawaiian left school. Another example of language revival is Hebrew. In the last century, Hebrew changed from a dead written language to Israel's national language. It's now spoken by over 5 million Israelis and shows no sign of decline. Having one global language that everyone understands would certainly be an advantage, and English seems to be taking this role. However, must this mean the loss of other languages? Is it possible for people to retain their own language while learning another? Only time will tell.
If you'd like the full text with comprehension questions and vocabulary explanations, Book 1 is available on Amazon. The link is in the video description below.